Good morning and welcome to Junior Church for Pebbles. Let's light our candle to remind us that this is our special time with God. Well, I wonder, who likes parties? Has anyone been to a party over the summer? We have parties for all sorts of things, don't we? Birthday parties, Christmas parties. Sometimes just because we want to get together and have a party. It's a bit sad at the moment, isn't it, that we can't get together quite like we used to. But we can still have family parties. What's your best bit of a party? I like playing games, eating crisps and jelly and ice cream. Oh, and cake. If you were having a party, who would you want to invite? I expect it would be your best friends. Here's Jesus. He loved parties too. He invited all sorts of people. He told a story once about a king who wanted to have a party. Once there was a king who loved parties. He liked to have as many people as possible at his parties and lots of food and drink. He had loads of money and loads of room. One day he organised a very special party with the best food, the best drink, music and lots of lovely things for people to do. He wanted to get to know the people in his kingdom. So he invited lots and lots of people. Lots of people. On the day of the party, the king was quite sad. A few people came. But lots of people decided they had more important things to do. Or they just couldn't be bothered. So they missed the party, and the king missed getting to know them. Jesus says, God is like that king. He wants to get to know us. He wants us to enjoy getting to know him. So he invites us, just like the king invited all those people. He doesn't make us come, just like the king didn't. He invites us to talk to him. We call it praying. Sometimes we put our hands together. He invites us to get to know him by reading our Bibles. But often we find we have more important things to do, or we just can't be bothered. And that's a little bit sad. Shall we have a sing? I thought we might think of God being like that king, inviting everybody and having the whole world in his hands. He's got 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 you and me, sister, in his hands. He's got you and me, sister, in his hands. He's got you and me, sister, in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got you and me, brother, in his hands. He's got you and me, brother, in his hands. He's got you and me, brother, in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the tiny little baby in his hands. He's got the tiny little baby in his hands. He's got the tiny little baby. In his hands he's got the whole world in his hands. 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 Well, I've got an activity for you, like I usually do. Have you ever been to a party where you got a party bag to take home? I used to love making party bags. They always had cake in them, but also little games and things that people could enjoy when they got home. I wonder, what do you think God would put in a party bag? Kate and I had a think, and this is what we came up with. In God's party bag, well, we think they'd be cake. I'm sure God would want cake at his party. Then we thought there might be a cross to remind us of the gift that God gave us of Jesus coming to be with us. A cross to take home to remind us. Then we thought maybe God would put a bookmark in his party bag. This one's got, I don't know if you can see it, it's got a star on it and the crib with Jesus in the stable. We thought God might put a bookmark in his party bag so we could use it when we read our Bibles. And there was one more thing we thought. Maybe God would put something in to remind us of all the lovely places we can go that he made for us. Here's a special shell from the seaside. This was a present from someone I used to teach. Reminds me of all happy days on the seaside. I wonder, what do you think God would put in his party bag? Perhaps you can find a bag and you'd like to make God's party bag. Perhaps you'd like to get your mum or dad or someone to put a photo of it on Facebook to show the rest of the church what you thought God would put in his party bag. And this week, let's remember, can't find him, that king that Jesus talked about. That king who invited everybody to his party so he could get to know them. And those people who couldn't be bothered. Let's try not to be like those people who couldn't be bothered. Let's just find a little bit of time this week to spend talking to God or reading our Bible stories. Shall we finish with a prayer? Dear God, thank you that you always want to spend time with us. We're sorry that we're often too busy. Help us to find time to pray and to share Bible stories so that we can get to know you better. Amen. Well, I hope you have a lovely week. I hope school or nursery is going well. And I might see you around the parish. Goodbye.